Yes, yo, that's Reef the Lost Cauze with Snow Goons there, 100 rhyme books. Killer song. And we've got him on the phone with us right now. Reef, what's good, brother?
What up, brother? How are you?
Very good. Just chilling out, listening to these tunes, man.
Nice. Getting excited for the run, for the tour?
Yes, man, I'm pumped. Lots of people up here are excited to have you back again. And, you know what I mean? Yeah. You bring that raw rap that everybody, loves. So we're stoked to have you, man.
Awesome. Thanks again for having me. I'm excited. I can't wait to see everybody again, and old friends, and make some new ones along the way, That's what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's what it is. Keep building, and get it growing and expanding. I know you yourself, musically, you just keep growing, and the music that you're making, like the last project you just released as the group, obviously, Army of the Pharaohs, that was killer. But yourself, always on the grind, like putting out new product all the time. You got this new CD now, The Hand That Feeds You, right?
Yeah, The Hand That Feeds. I'm working on that right now. I'm actually on my way to record the first official track. I've been writing and collecting beats, and I'm getting it started right now, man. So I'm extremely excited. I'm looking forward to testing out some new stuff up in Canada. So those who come to the shows, you're going to be hearing stuff that has never been heard or played live before. So that's always going to be exciting. You know what I mean?
Definitely, I love that stuff. Once in a lifetime.
Yes, sir.
That's what's good, man. So you're in the studio doing your thing, putting these tracks down. What's the concept tonight? You're going in on a new song. What's it all about, if you don't mind me asking?
It's actually just called The Hand That Feeds. It's the title track. It's weird because I usually don't even have title tracks. You know what I mean? Like every album I've ever done, I don't think there's ever been a track that was named after the record. But this I've been sitting on this beat for about 2 years. I've rewritten the song about 3 or 4 times, just because it's just one of those things where as an MC, I'm sure you've been through it before, where you can just you feel it jump off at you, but you want to make sure that you say exactly what it is that you feel it will be perfect to convey over the beat. And man, I just have been things have been really good for me in my life right now. I can't complain at all, but there's still that lacking and that sense of not enough respect in the hip-hop world. And I know that might sound shocking to a lot of people that are fans and people that follow, but I pay attention to the people that are on the the big festivals and the people that are on the TV screen and the radio all the time. And it's like, in my mind and in my heart, I'm like, man, these dudes can't F with me. You know what I'm saying? They can't tie my shoes. So this song is almost like a warning shot, and just kind of getting that off of this year, man, I'm going hard. I'm going harder than I've ever gone before. And I've always been a humble and polite dude, and I'm going to continue to be that way, just except when it comes to, my approach to this game right now. I'm just hungrier than I've ever been. I feel a sense of rejuvenation. So, it's go time. You know what I mean?
For sure, man. I feel that sentiment 100%, especially when you're talking about the people that you see, on the big festivals, the radio, on the television and stuff like that, and they're rhyming. And as far as bar for bar, if they even had to go against any of these guys that are really spitting like you, obviously, you know what I mean? It's no calm. There's no calm. It's a rap,
bro.
It's ridiculous.
It's a rap. You know that. I know that. The true heads know that. But it's just like, man, it's gotten so bad, bro. It's getting further and further and further from what it's supposed to be. And it's almost a clown show right now. And it breaks my heart. And it also frustrates me as an artist that, this is my livelihood, man. And there's so many people that are just in the way. And it's like, that's why the album's called The Hand That Feeds. Because, I'm literally saying I'm fighting. Hip-hop is the hand that feeds. Hip-hop is what feeds me. I'm fighting that hand. I'm saying I'm not going to just take these scraps anymore. You know what I mean? I want the full meal. You know what I'm saying? So that's my approach to this record. It's just like relentlessness. I'm just tired of the feeling like I'm not getting where I need to be. I want more. I've made a lot of headway. I've been around the world. I've collabed with some legendary MCs. I make a living doing this. I'm grateful, but at the same time, I want more. I think that's fair. Anyone in any profession they're in should always want and strive, to get more. So that's the approach I'm coming with.
I like it, man. I like it. I'm excited to hear that hunger for sure.
Word up.
That's dope. It's hard, man, in this industry, you know, dealing with a lot of cats and hearing the music that's out there. It does the same thing to me, man. It breaks my heart, especially when I hear the kind of money and the kind of dollars that those types of people are sucking out of the industry. And also the kind of influence that puts on our youth. I know yourself, you've got a child, and
yes, sir.
And I'm sure a lot of your rhymes have been influenced by the fact that you have a child, and you do understand the importance of like what you're saying and how that's going to affect the next generation coming up.
Absolutely, and I think, like, you know, everything is about balance. You know, I'm an adult, I'm a grown man, so obviously there are things that I've experienced and I'll talk about that, you know, when my son gets older, we'll have that conversation. But at the same time, you know, I try my hardest to always show that you know, it's not all cartoonish. It's not all violence and sex and, you know, everyone's shooting everyone. And, you know, you have to have some sort of message in there. You know, the medicine's in the candy is a saying I always like to say. You know, put the medicine in the candy, meaning that, you know, you feed the people through the hype beats and the hype show performance, but at the end, they realize, like, oh, man, this dude was really saying something. You know what I mean? He wasn't just up there spitting nonsense. You know what I mean? So,
definitely. Medicine with the candy. I like that.
Yeah, the medicine's in the candy. You know, you got to, because if you just try to just give people the medicine, most time there's just going to be like, oh, you're being preachy, or, you know, you're being judgmental, or you think you're, you know, holier than thou. If you just, like, don't do this, don't do that. But if you know, make a song that's got high energy and got dope beat, and you're spitting some real stuff, but at the same time you're doing it in a way that they, you know, is accessible to them as normal people, you know, they'll be able to digest it a little bit easier. And that's something that I, you know, have always tried to do. So
I like that.
You know?
I like that for
Thanks,
sure. One thing I did want to talk to you about, mentioning your son there. I'd seen your post the other day, and I've been aware that he is autistic. And
yes, he is.
You know, I just heard a crazy stat the other day when I was listening to a podcast. This lady who's like a specialist in nutrition and just trying to figure out the correlation between our nutrition and health and the rise in autism. She was saying nowadays it's like 1 in every 61 children is born autistic, and it's pretty much risen like 600% in the last like 10, 20 years.
I believe that.
From what it was.
Wholeheartedly. You know, it's becoming more and more common. I know I have, you know, my brother Chris from Army of the Pharaohs, his son is autistic. My homie Rec Raw, who's another dope MC out of Philly, his son's autistic. You know, just a lot of friends and family members that, you know, I never really thought about it like that. So, you know, one of those things where it's, when it hits close to home, you start taking a look around, and it's just, you know, it's a gift and a curse, because obviously they struggle with, you know, what society would deem, you know, normal behavior. But the gift is that, you know, they're so unique. You know, every autistic child is completely their own person, their own, you know, they have their own way of thinking. They have their own way of seeing the world. And what I just have to do is just try to give my son enough knowledge and enough love and care to where the rest of the world will understand and see his light, because I see it. I understand it, but I'm his father, you know, so my goal is to make sure that the rest of the world understands that, you know, yes, he is different, he is unique, but there's nothing slow about him. He's not a dummy, he's not, you know, retarded, quote unquote. He's just, you know, he just thinks and views things very differently. It's a very, you know, I said something, it was probably about, I don't know, 3 months ago, I posted something on Facebook where I was just like, you know, my son is so strong that he can lift things, you know, he can lift things that a child his age, you know, or older could never lift. You know, he's so fast when he runs, he doesn't know how to stop. You know, his ears are so sensitive. You know, he can hear things that the average person's ears can't, you know, and in the end, it's like, I'm not raising an autistic child. I'm basically trying to teach Superman how to be human. You know what I mean? Like, this kid's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's the missing link, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that person, the way he operates and the way his mind works and the way his physicality, just everything about him is like what we strive to try to understand about what's next as far as genetics go. You know what I mean? And he's just in between that place where what we consider normal, he's above it and beyond it, and it's just he can't comprehend or communicate with us regular Earthlings. Maybe that's my way of making the situation more positive, but I truly do believe that, autistic kids or any, kids with Down syndrome, kids that, if you've ever been around a child with special needs, 9 times out of 10, man, they're more kind and compassionate and caring than any person you'll ever meet, man, because they don't understand, jealousy. They don't understand, being evil or hurting people. They just have kind hearts, So I'm not at all, ashamed or sad, or obviously I go through times where it hurts, and I see other kids and their dads doing playing catch, and my son doesn't understand what catch is, but that's fine, because one day he might, and even if he doesn't, he likes other things that we can do together. You know what I'm saying? I just have to adapt my way of thinking to his, and it's a challenge, but I wouldn't have it any other way. God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle, and I feel like he chose me as his father. He said, this man is going to be the person that's going to take care of me and watch over me, and I take the responsibility head on. I take it very serious. I would give my life before I let anything happen to that child. So, I'm ready for whatever the world has to offer, and I just hope that they understand that, this is a very special, unique child. So
I feel that 100%. Definitely, there's a lot of people that I know personally that have autistic children and special needs children, and every single time I feel the same thing, where there's something. It's almost like they're advanced, but
right.
It's like they're the next level of human being, and there's something that they need. It's got to get I don't know. Eventually that's going to be us, but we're going through this phase of transitioning into it.
Right. He doesn't, understand anything about, just the culture and the ideology of this world, of all the materialistic nonsense. And when I'm in the store with him, he just wants me to pay attention to him, play with him. He's 3 years old. If you go to the store right now, most 3-year-olds, not most, but there will be a few of them that will be like, I want this, buy me that, buy me this, because we from birth we're almost conditioned to, just buy stuff we don't need and be caught up in what's cool and what's materialistic. And to have someone that doesn't even register to him. He doesn't want anything but love and care and compassion. And I feel like that's something that we as human beings should all strive to try to, get to, man. That's a place that I would love for myself to be. You know what I mean? So he's teaching me stuff every day, man. More so than anything, he's taught me about patience. He's taught me a lot about myself. He's taught me about what it truly means to love and truly means to give. And every child does that for a parent, but this is a different situation because we speak without words. We have to go off of emotions and facial cues and things like that, because he can't properly say, Daddy, this is what's wrong, Daddy, this is what I need. I have to kind of feel my way around in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, he's my best friend, and I love him to death, man. So
that's great. I love that. One thing that was interesting that you said there was how you believe that he chose you to be his father. You know what I mean? In basically kind of hinting to the other dimension where you go through that phase of choosing who you're going to have in your life and then coming down to this earth to go and experience those things.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit as far as your beliefs go into life after death or life before birth? And what that's like for you?
Yeah. I feel like everything's predetermined, everything's predestined, you know what I mean? And when I say he chose me, I feel like, it was an understanding or an arrangement, an agreement was made before he got here that, God's not going to send, I'm not a very religious person, but I am very spiritual, you know what I mean? And I feel like God's not going to just send anybody, one of his angels to earth without, proper protection and proper understanding. So I feel like, they sat there together and looked through some photos maybe or whatever. It's like, what about this guy? You know what I mean? Can this be your dad? And he chose me, you know what I mean? So I'm grateful and I appreciate everything. I appreciate that he's mine. You know what I mean? Because I think about it all the time. That there are so many kids out there in his situation that have parents that don't care or almost are ashamed of them or abusive to them and lock them in the room and just like, back in the day, man, when there was a child with his type of issues, they would just send them away. You know what I mean? They would put them in a fucking, excuse me, sorry, bro.
It's all good.
They would put them in a freaking, mental institution or have them have electroshock therapy. Like, I'm just thankful that as much as I can control, like, I'm nervous as all heck when he starts school. Like, he's in a school right now that's close by. But when he starts, like, when he starts new school in the fall where he's going to have to take the bus and all that other stuff, like, I'm scared to death, man, because I have to relinquish some of that control and put faith and trust that he's going to be okay. Because right now, he's with me almost, all day, every day. His mom works, and then, obviously I live the rap life, so my day starts now. You know what I'm saying? But during the day, he's with me always, you know what I mean? So I have to get ready to let some of that go and just hope and trust that these people at his school, understand that if anything happens to him, I will burn the place down,
Yeah, I seen you make some posts about that even online, just about like some things that you observed at the park and stuff, and you're like, yo, if that happened to my kid, like, look out.
Yeah, I'm extra sensitive about it, man, because like, it's one thing like kids are kids, yeah, but he's different. He can't defend himself. He doesn't understand even what the concept of defending himself is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't understand that kids can be cruel because he doesn't understand what cruel is. He only responds and understands love. So the world isn't like that though. The world is a tough place, and I have to know that he's going to have to go out in that world. But all I can do is just hope and pray that his angels will follow him and keep him safe. So
definitely. That brings up another point of discussion that's kind of interesting to talk about, especially in today's day and age. They're always talking about is this whole issue of bullying and at the schools and stuff like that, is like how some kids treat other kids and stuff like that. And I remember even in my past going through situations where I was a bully or I was a victim of being bullied, and like growing up with my brother who was 3 years older than me and would just like constantly beat me up and like do that whole game to me. And I wrote a song recently where I kind of like talked about some of this stuff, in like the fact that everything kind of comes around full circle and karma, and how what you do to others is going to eventually come back to you. What are your thoughts as far as that goes, regarding bullying and in schools and stuff?
Yeah.
and that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have been on both sides of the fence. I definitely have had situations where people not picked on me, but I got jumped before, and I've gotten into situations where I was the new kid at school and I had to prove myself and go through all that, and I had stuff stolen out of my locker, all that. I think it's just, I know it's as cliche as it sounds, man. It really is just a part of growing up, and I think that as you get older, hopefully you outgrow that. And I can look back and honestly say that if there was anyone that I ever hurt or offended, if I saw them right now, I would truly apologize and want them to know that it was just being a kid. Kids are mirrors and reflections of society, and what we have in this society is a lot of horrible, terrible things. You turn on the news every day and it's just violence and crime, and I think that kids pick up on that. They're very receptive of what's going on around them, and if you are in an environment where the idea that you have to be this tough, macho person to survive, especially in urban environments, you're going to reflect on that. But I think that as you get older, you learn grace, you learn, kindness, you learn patience, you learn respect, and I would hope and pray that anyone that went through what you went through, or what I've went through at different times, or anyone that's ever been bullied or dealt with, just know that it's going to get better. It's going to be okay. And most of the people that are jerks like that and spend their whole time picking on other people, they end up growing up to be very miserable, lonely, sad people. And the people that come out of that stronger and tougher, they end up going on to do wonderful things. You know what I mean? So I would always tell someone that's going through that to just keep going through it. There's a saying, if you're going through hell, just keep going. You know what I mean? Because it ends eventually, man. And you can't turn to drugs, you can't turn to being violent yourself, you have to rise above it. And I know that's hard for a lot of kids that may be listening right now to understand, but you have to know that, one day you're going to be away from all that. And I think a lot of that school pressure and peer pressure, all that stuff is, once you get out of high school and you're in the real world, man, none of that stuff can fly. You can't survive being a jerk. You have to be somewhat respectful if you want to get ahead at all. You can't be, even in the rap game, man, you can't just be the biggest jerk to everyone you meet because no one will want to work with you, no one want to hire you, no one want to book you for shows. Showing respect and love is the way to go always. So I think that you just have to rise above it, try to turn the other cheek as much as you can. But at the same time, if you can't take it, man, hey, get in a boxing class, get in the MMA, get in the karate, learn how to defend yourself. But only use it if you can, if you've tried every other option and there's no other way around it. You have to, I would never tell anyone to just take bullying, take abuse. Fight back, but use your mind first. So
proper.
Word up.
Definitely. Use your mind first, and as an artist, use your words too, right? We got words.
Yeah, use your words. Use your words, and I mean that's how I always, that was my end with, people respecting me was through this music. It saved my life in more ways than one. You know what I mean? Like aside from, I was always very humorous. I was always very personable. But I think, being an MC and being able to, rhyme and make people be like, oh, that dude's cool. That dude's, you know what I mean? Like there are people that have so many great talents that they're afraid to, let out because of what they think other people think. But you got to let all those talents fly. So. Yes,
don't care what other people think. That's one of the biggest rules I think everybody and the kids need to learn. That one should be embedded. Like school needs to be more about life. I feel like there's too much math, geography, politics, this and that. It's like, where is the school for life, situations, relationships? This is, we're going to have a class today on girlfriends and boyfriends. You know what I mean? Because everybody has them, but yet we never have a class or like talk about that stuff in schools, which is all the information we're going to need for the rest of our lives. I've got a problem with the school system, but that's just my point right there. I want to say, like, I wish we could have these, but this is the school now. Right here, this radio show, having these conversations, you know what I mean? Getting your insight on it. People that are listening to this show, they look up to you, they respect you, and your opinion matters. And when you say stuff like what you're saying here on the show, I know the listeners are taking that back and they're gaining something from that, and their knowledge is being brought to the table here, and that's good.
Absolutely.
I like that. School of Life, word up on the radio. Ha. Word. All right. Well, I know you're getting, you're walking on the way to the studio now, about to put in a nice night's work of recording. So I'll let you get off to that. Much respects, man, for doing the interview, and we're really stoked to have you up here in Canada.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it. We will be there soon, and it's going to be a great run. Shout out to my man Robbie G. Everyone involved. We will see you guys at the end of August.
All right, man.
All right, brother. Peace.
Respects.